It takes money to cover flood protection in Cedar Rapids, but taxpayers are not on the hook for it, and neither is the government.
Fox 28 News reporter Gabriela Vidal explains how the city is taking care of this year's costs and how permanent flood measures are helping keep that number down.
Karen and Christopher, while it's true the city says they will not be receiving federal or state funding like they did in 2016 for flood protection, and that's simply because this was not considered a disaster, but that's a good thing. They credit city employees and flood protection systems like the Sinclair levee here for making sure a disaster doesn't happen here.
Each year is different in how we flood fight.
Not one, not two, but 3 different flood fights just this year, the highest at 18 feet.
3 separate events had varying manpower from in the beginning of about 30 people plus some engineering staff to around 70 to 80.
The city's finance and administrative services director says, quote, while not all invoices have yet been settled, we estimate that 2018 flood fighting efforts will cost approximately $1 million.
Sandbags, labor, HESCOs, rentals of some equipment for the flood fight, replacement equipment that's damaged in the flood fight.
The city says these measures don't come at any extra expense to residents, adding in part, the city has a contingency fund in place to help address unforeseen emergency situations such as flooding. The 2008 flood disaster with no protections in place cost the city over $1 billion. 2016 flooding cost about $10 million. City leaders say this year's cost is some proof the city's efforts to curb flooding are paying off.
In 2016, we learned valuable lessons about coordination, about communication. In these last flood fights this year, staff are more practiced.
City leaders say they are also happy that all the flood protection system this year went towards protecting businesses and homes, and they were all successfully taken care of. But this flood protection this year still goes to show that more future permanent flood protection is still needed in the city. Covering the corridor in Cedar Rapids, Gabriela Vidal, Fox 28 News.